Welcome to Tribal Ready Learning Circle. Chamai, hello. My name is Katrina Tysinger. My elder given name is Sakhalak, and I'm Yupik Eskimo from the Bristol Bay region of Alaska. I am the tribal funding strategist with Learn, Design, Apply, and I'm so excited that you've joined us today for this Tribal Ready Broadband Grant session. A little bit about Learn, Design, Apply. We are a grant consulting firm, and we have an entire broadband team dedicated to working with clients on broadband grants. We have secured millions of funding for tribes and understand the significance of Indian country in promoting digital equity. In partnership with Tribal Ready, these sessions are designed to utilize values as a foundation in cultivating tools and resources specific for tribes in the broadband grant writing process, all while maintaining cultural relevance and sensitivity from a tribal perspective. We understand that many tribes are seeking out external resources to aid in this process. These sessions are designed to provide some directed insight on considerations to look at as you work to build broadband infrastructure onto tribal land. We're going to discuss broadband funding and grant considerations related to the cultural value of collaboration. Indigenous communities really work together and rely on each other to solve problems. Cooperating with your team and funders is similar in that you are working collaboratively to solve the problem of a lack of broadband access. As the Hopi proverb tells us, one finger cannot lift a pebble. In the same way, one person cannot write a broadband grant proposal on their own. Well, I wouldn't advise it. As you choose your internal team, look at the project workforce requirements of the grant. Include these team members on your grant application team. Also include team members specific to IT and finance, and possibly legal, depending on the grant requirements. We discuss partners to include in your broadband endeavors, but I want to emphasize the importance of working with an engineering firm. Finding a trusted broadband engineering partner will equip you with the technical planning and resources you need. As you begin, it's important to have a key person to assign roles and responsibilities and provide the project management of the grant. Our first grant tip: you know that old saying, don't have too many cooks in the kitchen. This also applies to the grant application process and streamlines the project planning. Open access is definitely a hot topic in the broadband space. Many funders require that you commit to operating as an open access network, and if it isn't required, it may make your grant application more competitive. There is a delicate balance in demonstrating tribal sovereignty and ownership, but offering accessibility options. Let's listen in as Leah Cleve, Business Operations Manager with Southern Ute Shared Services, shares with us some insight on operating an open access network as a tribe.
Now, the open access network model can best be described using an airport analogy. In an airport, you have three major players. You have one group who owns the actual infrastructure that makes up the runways, terminals, and other facilities that constitute the physical nature of an airport. You have the managers of the airport. They do regular maintenance, staff safety crews, and ensure the airport is generally in good condition for use. Then you have the airlines. They lease space in the airport and pay fees for the use of the runways, etc. If you take an OAN and apply this analogy of the airport to the structure of an OAN, the owner of the infrastructure, all the fiber conduit and equipment, is the same as the owner of the airport. In this case, will be the tribe. The manager of the airport is either a managed service partner of the tribe or the tribe itself. They manage and maintain the physical technology, fiber, equipment. If a line is cut, they go out and repair it. The airlines are the individual internet service providers that will use the network to provide services to end users. It should be noted that a tribe can determine that they want to be all three roles or two of the three if they have expertise and personnel to handle the operations, the management, and the delivery of services.
Let's listen in as Leah Cleve also shares with us on Open Access Network as it relates to tribal sovereignty.
Experience to date and per casual conversations I've had with legal counsel, we haven't identified any areas where sovereignty would be questioned in the role of network owner when contracting or partnering with a group to manage the network, or when allowing ISPs to lease bandwidth on the network. A tribe's ability to self-determine is evident in its decisions to select a manager and require ISPs to meet certain requirements in order to use the tribal-owned infrastructure. A benefit that the Southern Utes hope to gain by utilizing a manager to maintain the network is the experience in doing so, with the end goal being to eventually take on that role in the future if it's feasible. As I'm sure many tribes across the nation are not currently experts in broadband deployment or infrastructure maintenance, we will rely on the experts until we can become experts ourselves.
Sometimes your best partnerships are those in advocacy. Collaborating with your local broadband action team or broadband coalition or advocacy groups will not only bring awareness of your project, but will also provide support when it comes time to showing that engagement with the community and requesting letters of support. Formalizing agreements with Broadband Arena allies will strengthen your grant application by demonstrating the community involvement most funders want to see. Funders will reach out during the curing process as they review applications. Funders do publish the review process timeline in the grant guidelines. This will give you insight on what part of the process you are in. Your response time to these funder requests is critical. Responding only to the required items is recommended. Making any additional changes could result in the denial of your application. Some review examples we've seen is that NTIA may want you to be very specific in the budget and budget narrative with the cost breakdown of each item. Another example we've seen is specifying exactly what permits you are looking at. For example, a railroad crossing permit or a state transportation permit. Ask questions if the request seems vague or you need more clarification. Guyana, thank you for joining us for this Tribal Ready Learning Circle session on broadband considerations related to collaboration. Check out our other value-driven Tribal Ready sessions to learn more about tribal resources for expanding broadband infrastructure in Indian country.